very honored to be joined by the Governor of North Carolina, Governor Roy Cooper. Governor, thank you for being here today.
Glad to be here, Keith.
Well, you just got through speaking to a very enthusiastic crowd, a lot of people here talking about early childhood issues. When you ran for governor, you talked a lot about early childhood and pre-K. We've made some progress over the last year, but we've got a lot of work to do. What are your priorities?
Study after study has shown that early childhood education in pre-K provides a quantifiable, demonstrable difference as kids go into kindergarten and begin to learn in public schools. Our workforce is going to have a more well-trained, higher skilled workforce than years to come. So we've seen CEOs of big companies go to the legislature to say, we have to have more pre-K slots. We have to invest in early childhood. It's a good return on the money because if you talk to most any kindergarten teacher, they can tell you they know the difference between
absolutely.
kids who have had pre-K and early childhood and those who have not. One teacher told me that one could not even hold a pencil. So we have to invest, and we have to make sure that it's a priority in our budget.
And speaking of priorities in the budget, I mean, we talk about public-private partnerships, and they're important, but pre-K is one of those things, I mean, from a scale perspective, I mean, this is really something the state needs to step up, right?
There's no doubt about it. I mean, we've got less than 25% of our kids enrolled in pre-K. We've got a waiting list of kids for the slots that we already have, but we need even more pre-K.
Yeah, that waiting list is a little bit misleading because
there aren't enough spaces across our state to handle the number of kids that we need to put into pre-K. So this is going to be a tremendous investment. We're going to need the business community to step up to help us through this and to say to the legislature, this is a priority. We have to do this in order to make sure that our workforce is prepared, because businesses today are telling me that workforce is the number one issue. It's more important than taxes or anything else that they deal with. If we don't have the skilled people, they won't bring the jobs here.
Right.
And that's critical.
I've heard you mention before, and it's not just preparing the future workforce, early childhood education is important to our current workers who have families, right?
No doubt, no doubt. And you know, what we need to try to do is to make sure that these kids that there's affordable housing for them, that there's health care for them, that we understand that there is an opioid crisis. So there's a lot facing these kids and these families of these kids, and we need to help.
Right.
It's critical.
Right, and you mentioned that this conference, the Emerging Issues Forum, isn't just about education, but it is about the health care and investing in children early.
And you know, we can do things like expand Medicaid and draw down billions of federal dollars, and we're working with the General Assembly on ways that we can do that. We need to have more people covered with health care. We need to make sure that the child health insurance program is fixed and that kids are covered. You got to be healthy to start with, and we know that these are challenges that the state has to step up to, and we need to make sure that we've got the tax base to do it. And I'm telling businesses that if you go to the General Assembly, we don't need to raise taxes. But what we do have to do is stop tax giveaways to the wealthiest among us. I think our corporate tax is the lowest in the Southeast. We don't need to worry about that being an economic driver, so we don't have to continue lowering that, because what you're doing is providing less funding for teacher salaries, or pre-K slots, and the other things we've been talking about today.
Well, you mentioned the actual slots. We need funding for that. We also need space. I heard you talk in your remarks just a few minutes ago that you've been talking to school superintendents, and they're concerned about the impact this K-3 class size mandate is having on them overall, but it's also affecting early childhood.
Well, the legislature has mandated a smaller class size for grades K through 3, and that sounds good on paper, but when you don't pay for it, it can create chaos, because what school systems are having to do is to order more mobile classrooms. They're having to pull teachers out of pre-K and out of 4th through 8th grade and put them in K through 3. That's creating larger class size. They're eliminating arts classes and music classes and computer classes and PE classes. Parents are extremely upset the legislature needs to step up and fund it. They also need to look at a way to phase this in instead of just dumping it on the school system right now. They've already admitted that they hadn't paid for it with the delay last year.
Right.
So now let's fix it.
Right. Well, that sounds like a good place to stop. We've got a lot of things happening here today, but let's hope that we can get some bipartisan agreement to get that fixed. So, well, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Yes, sir.
I appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thank you.